What's up everybody, welcome to the video. I'm gonna tell you and arm you with the knowledge of how to lose over 50 pounds of body fat in the next 6 months. If that's something that you've been trying to do or not quite sure how to do, I'm gonna literally take you step by step in this video how to do it. But not only that, I'm gonna use a client that I've done this with as a case study, so you guys can have like real world evidence that this works, and you can see the transformation happen over this presentation. So for those of you joining me, thank you. I hope you enjoy this new style. We're gonna open up a presentation in a PowerPoint. I'm gonna take you through it just like I'm presenting to you guys. So let's get into it. So change your physique, lose fat, and then keep it off, because it's one thing to take it off, but the hard part, as a lot of you guys watching this know, is to keep it off and then to sustain that for the rest of your life, and being able to put yourself in a position where you can be fit, healthy, lean, but also have balance in your life, and that balance not unravel the good work that you can do. Over this presentation, I'm going to talk about a fat loss blueprint here that I've used with many clients. But in this presentation, I'm going to give you the story of Ben. Now, there's three main focuses here. Super simple: fat loss phase, metabolic reset phase, the fat loss phase, and then we'll talk about what's next. Because all of these phases are very important, and they're actually needed for like the next one to work. So we'll go through this now, and I'll explain exactly what these phases do and why I implement them with most of my clients. So this has been the starting point. I'll tell you a little bit about him so you guys can resonate. So late 30s, runs his own coaching business, has over 60 individuals, and that comes with a lot of stress. That comes with letting yourself become low on a priority, and that very clearly happened. And he was 270 pounds at the peak of it, 5'8". That's pretty big, right? We don't need to kid around, and you've got the pictures here to see it yourself. Married with 2 beautiful children, wanted to change his life, wanted to change his habits, but most importantly, wanted to get the fat off and then keep it off. Most people find me through YouTube or Instagram. He actually found me through Instagram. On my Instagram, like, I talk a lot about how to do things yourself. I try and give you as much information as I can to let you be able to do it. It's not as easy as just doing it. There's things that come up, there are roadblocks that come up that we can talk about later on in the presentation. But after a free initial consultation that I do with everyone that I work with, I really ran like a full-on diagnostic of where I was at, figured out like what the issues had been, which had been dropping food too low, doing too much cardio, not getting there slowly. And we managed to figure out exactly what process he needed to get there. So this is where we realized that from the start point, it was also very important to set goals, which is why we had an initial goal of a photo shoot, and then like a prep later on. It says 16 weeks here. There's just an editing issue. It's supposed to be 24 weeks, so 6 months. And then we'll talk about how, of course, like I explained that to him. I said, this is how we're gonna do it. We just need the time put in, right? So this is over like a 6-month process. So phase 1, fat loss. So with high like fat loss projects, I call them, like, I think it's really important to see yourself as a project, always evolving, always progressing. I think it's really important to go relatively quick out the gates. You don't need to like do, let's see where your metabolism is. No, let's just like predict where a deficit is, and if it's not big enough, increase it. Because you're pretty heavy, because you've got a lot of body fat, like metabolism is super high, you should be able to lose a lot of body fat pretty quickly. And we saw that happen really quickly, because we had an initial 8 to 10 week phase here, and we lost like 20 pounds, 18, 20 pounds in that phase. Oh yeah, here you can see 18 pounds lost. So 126 at the start, 114 at the end, like 12 kilos straight off. And really, for us, it was all about just controlling the variables initially. It was going from like not tracking anything to just like introducing some cardio. And it wasn't like we're doing cardio now because we got to get shredded. No, we're doing cardio to be healthy and improve your cardiovascular health. Put your baseline steps up so you're actually moving a little bit, controlling the variables of food and making sure that there's not like a stupid deficit where you're super hungry and fixating on food from day one. And then you think, how am I supposed to lose 50 kilos right now? That's important to know. You're supposed to start at a place that's feasible and adherable, and then you can start to go on there. With Ben, like, Ben loves to be sociable. Him and his wife go out, so there were weekend events that we had to navigate, and that was really simple. All we did is, like, in those days leading up, we could maybe pull out a few calories, so maybe 5 days a week. Might be slightly lower than what I would say I would have it if there was no weekend activities, but it was important, and it's important to know that you can achieve your goals of like 95% on point. You have Saturday pretty good, and then you go out and have a few drinks and a nice meal on Saturday night. Sunday you get back to work, yeah, or maybe every now and again there was a brunch on Sunday. I'm sure Ben will tell you that as well. But you know what, like that's normal, that's real. People are people, and that's important to balance that as well. Yes, you can be a machine and get it done, but it's important, and you can see the difference here. in these pictures, from that first picture to the second picture, that's a really, really big difference. We had to shift into a maintenance phase because when you lose 18, 20 pounds of body fat, you ultimately end up on doing quite a lot of cardio, and you ultimately end up not eating very much food. That's not sustainable, that's not adherable. And also there was a lot of things in his life at the time that just weren't lending itself to the deficit, and this is why the coaching process is so malleable. It was Christmas, right? Like, you know, when you work 9 to 5, 5 days a week, like Christmas is like, it's gospel. You've got to be able to have that flexibility. So we just did that over Christmas. And the goal here was just to get the metabolism back to like normal, because when you do taper things up with cardio, taper things down with food, metabolism slowly decreases, and we wanted to get that back to a place that was sustainable, but also like a little bit of the food fixation, because you do get hungry, right? And everyone likes to think about a nice meal every now and again. That's fine, we're allowed to do that. And this is where I just wanted to bring that metabolic flow back up, and that just comes from increasing food slowly, reducing the cardio slowly, because what that would do is it will take away calories being burned from cardio and give you a little bit more from food. And guess where they go? They go straight into your training sessions. So the training sessions become very, very productive. And actually the reverse process happens by adding a few more calories in, but you actually burn more from the energy that you get. So you can bring that food up pretty quickly. I'll give you some actionable points of what we did. We moved cardio from 245 minutes per week, so pretty much like half an hour, 35 minutes a day, to 80 minutes, so it's 420s again. We increased calories by about 500 initially. We ended up about 1,000, 1,500 above his baseline by the end of it, which was amazing. And we did 2 or 3 check-ins per week because I want to see what's happening like quickly. And if you're dropping weight, right, add food in. If you're dropping weight, add food in. Whereas if you're just dropping weight consistently this whole time and like for a week and then I do a check-in, it's not worth it. And you can see from being meticulous, his weight was actually up a kilo or 2, but he looked leaner, he looked fuller, and he looked harder, and he looked better. All of that was managed over the festive period, and that was just through communication through me and him. So this is the story so far. 270 pounds, 20 pounds off. I rounded up a couple of pounds here and there. You can see the huge difference. And then we maintained maybe about a kilo back on, and then we moved back into a fat loss phase again. And this is where you become more responsive because of the priming, I call it a priming phase, because you prime for a better fat loss. The maintenance phase was so efficient, we managed to come back straight back up. As soon as we dropped back down, he was so responsive because his body and his engine was working so efficiently. He had more body fat to lose ultimately, so you have to come back for the second fat loss if you're losing 30, 40, 50, 60 pounds to just be in a good, healthy range. You've got to split that up, because otherwise it gets to a place where it's very difficult to adhere to. So what do? Calories went down from about 3,300. We dropped them to about 2,800. Then we ramped cardio back up to daily again. Like you've got to go back to that place again to create a deficit. Only this time we didn't have to end up on so much cardio. Though we wanted to push it because he wanted to push for a photo shoot, it was really, really good. And because we'd had that flexibility over those 2 periods before, this one he was locked in. This one he could see the potential, and he was so happy with what he had achieved. Like the physique that he achieved ultimately on the right hand side here is just incredible. And that was around about 5 or 6 months, 40 pounds plus lost. I think it was about 50 pounds in the end. And what an incredible transformation it was. The question becomes, what's next? You have to understand there's only a few options you can take. You maintain again, and then potentially lose more body fat, because while lean, still not like anywhere near shredded. Option 2, take 4 or 5 months to grow, but you have to be very mindful of body fat because you've been there before. Or option 3, turbo bulk and get to 300 pounds, but obviously I don't recommend doing that. So you've got to consider things like holiday, school trips, weekends, the things you've got to sacrifice. So plan your years accordingly. And that's very, very important for people who are just trying to get fit, healthy, live longer for their kids, for their family, to think better for work, to be able to make more money, to be able to live a better life. Plan those things in, and then you can really, really start to see your year. Going on holiday in December, all right, well, you know, probably want to have a mini cut before then, right? Things like that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Comment down below any questions. I'll reply anything you want about this process. If you find yourself in a similar place as Ben maybe, or anything else that you can resonate with here, whether that be wanting to regulate your hormones, optimize your thinking and energy, whether that be earn more money for being leaner and set an example for people. Do you want to set an example for your kids? Do you want to live longer? Do all that stuff, but you're just not quite sure why? Like, that's fine. It's okay, because there are people that can help. I'm one of those people. If you hit the link in the description box, it will take you to an application form where you'll have a one-to-one call with me, and I'll run the same diagnostic that I ran with Ben, and I'll get into your life and understand what we need to do and how we fit the pieces to the puzzle to make sure that it works for you. And that's how my coaching service works, and that's why my coaching service comes with the 100% guarantee of sticking to my plan. You're not happy with the results, I'll give you a 100% refund and any help that you need to get back into wherever you need to be. Appreciate you guys for listening. Hope you guys enjoy this type of video. We'll see you very soon. Peace and love, everybody. Bye-bye.